Hi, Paraic here. Well, thank you for all your gardening questions. I've just finished with Pat. We've got a great range of questions in today. And some of the plants I was featuring with Pat for Mother's Day in particular, we started with this beautiful lily. This is one called Souvenir. It's a beautiful pink variety. You can keep it indoors. It's got a fantastic scent. You won't get it from there, but it's a beautiful scent. Take my word for it. It'll stay in flower for several weeks indoors, and then you can plant it out of doors and it'll come into flower every year. It's a really easy plant to grow, but highly scented. Lovely Mother's Day gift for this weekend. The other two plants I've talked to Pat about was the lovely Phalaenopsis or Moth Orchid. You can see the flowers. It resembles a moth in flight, and it's one of the easier orchids to grow. So it's an indoor plant. You keep it in a kind of a semi-bright location. So it's one of the orchids that will tolerate low light levels. So perfect for a sitting room or a spare room or even a bedroom or somewhere like that where the light levels are quite low. So that's a really nice plant. It flowers every year. It tends to stay in flower for quite a long time. You can see there's plenty of buds yet to flower on it. And it's available in a whole range of different colours, whites, pinks, purples. So it's Phalaenopsis or Moth Orchid. Lovely indoor plant. Beautiful colour. And my own favourite is this one here called the Painter's Palette. So this has modified leaves. The leaves are that beautiful red colour. Because the leaf is modified, it tends to stay in colour for nearly 6 weeks, each individual flower. And this particular plant stays in flower nearly 12 months a year. It's very, very seldom it's out of flower, and a very, very simple plant to grow. So that's one called the Anthurium or Painter's Palette, and it gets its name from the shape of the flower. It's like a painter's palette for painting on. So it's a really nice plant, very easy to grow. For the mothers, the gardeners in your life, there's also lovely Camellias, which are in flower at the moment, again available in a whole range of different colours. You can plant these directly out of doors. And the beauty about Camellias is that they flower at this time of year every year. So it's always in flower for Mother's Day. So it's a lovely plant to remember. And I did mention with Pat that this Sunday starts the week-long celebration of planting trees. So the Tree Council of Ireland have picked next week as National Tree Week. So again, if you wanted to maybe celebrate your Mother's Day by planting a tree, a cherry tree or something with a nice bit of colour. We have some questions.
Yeah. So this is, hi Paraic, we live in a flat and we're thinking of growing some veg on our balcony. What would you recommend so that we are able to use the stuff we grow regularly? Okay,
so on a balcony, my advice really is to get yourself a small raised bed. So something like the veggie pod would be ideal. You simply build it on a stand. It actually comes with wheels, so you can move it around in the balcony. Fill it with organic compost. And into that, I would plant things like strawberries, which we planted now. They're coming into flower in the next couple of weeks and they'll fruit by midsummer. You could also plant a whole range of cut and come vegetables. So the type of things that you're buying in your local supermarket as leaf lettuce or leaf salads, they can be grown quite easily, both from seed, and the seed I'd use is one from Sutton's, the Speedy Veg. You simply sow it into the soil, it germinates, and it's ready to cut within 4 or 5 weeks. You could also grow salad onions, radish are very easy to grow, and cut and come lettuce would be ideal. Something like the oak leaf lettuce or Laura Rossa can be grown as well. So all of those you're going to use on a regular basis. And indeed in the raised bed, you could also plant some kitchen herbs. So some of your popular herbs like thyme, rosemary, those herbs that you're going to use on a regular basis. Perfect for a balcony.
Okay, so this is from Catherine Lovett. So should carpet roses be pruned?
Yes, they should. So cut them back. If you haven't pruned them yet, prune them right back. Cut them back to within 8 inches of soil level, so be quite severe with them. Disregard any new growth that might be on the top of the rose. That's because of the really mild spring we've had. So cut them right back within 8 inches. Take any weeds away from the base of them and give them a good feed of a rose fertilizer. Something like Top Rose would be ideal, or Osmo Pro 6. Simply sprinkle it around the base of them. Flower carpet roses need feeding about once a month, and then when they do come into leaf, give them a treatment of Rose Clear just to keep the bugs away.
Okay, great. So what tomatoes can I plant in a pot for my balcony? Nothing too tall. Okay,
so if you want something short and bushy in a tomato variety, the best one I grow is one called Red Profusion. So as the name suggests, the fruit is red. It's about mid-size fruit, so bigger than a cherry but not as big as a full-size tomato. And Red Profusion starts producing its fruit from the middle of June right through till October. You can simply plant it in a pot, leave it outside from early May, Keep it watered, keep it fed, and it will reward you with a profusion of fruit right through the summer. You can also use a variety called Tumbler, which again tumbles out of the pot, or another variety called Tumbling Tom. So there's 3 really good varieties, but the best one in my opinion is one called Red Profusion, and it's available in your garden centres at the moment.
Okay, so this one comes in from Sinead. So hi Paraic, myself and my husband have just moved into our new home. We only have a small back garden and we'd love to start growing our own organic vegetables. We're new to this, so what's the best way to get started?
Okay, so something similar. If you want to grow them organically, probably the best way, again, is in a raised bed. So create a raised bed out of timber, or you can use the veggie pod that I mentioned earlier. That's a perfect unit. You simply fill it with organic compost. You can get a collection of organic seed from the Thompson & Morgan range. They do a full collection of organic vegetable seed. So you can sow them from seed and then use an organic fertilizer or liquid fertilizer during the summer months, just to keep the whole system going and to keep everything organic. So now is the time to get started. Vegetable plants are available in your local garden centre. The seeds are available at the moment, and something like the veggie pod is a brilliant solution for growing your 5 a day in an organic way.
Okay, so this one's from Tony. So hi Paraic, I have laurel hedges that are planted in troughs. They are quite tall but no filling out. They are 2 years old.
Okay.
What is the best way for them to make them fill out? Also, what's the best feed for a Tibetan cherry tree?
Okay, well Tony, the laurels, 2 years old, this is typical of the way laurel grows, and whether they're in troughs or they're in the open ground, unless you trim the tops back, they're going to continue to be tall and lanky and not fill in as you would want. So my advice is to cut them back now, this weekend if you can. Trim off at least 6 to 8 inches, up to a foot of growth from the top of the laurel, and also trim the sides as well. Give them a feed of something like the Osmo Pro 6. That's a great shrub fertilizer, or brilliant for hedges as well. Simply sprinkle it around the base of the plant, give them a good watering, and they'll kick into growth, and that growth will be it'll grow sideways and fill in that hedge for you. So you'll avoid that kind of lanky tall growth by cutting them back, feeding them, and they'll fill in and produce a lovely hedge for you. And in relation to your cherry, the feed I would use again would be the Osmo Pro 6. That can be used actually on all trees and shrubs and hedging plants at this time of year, just to get them back into growth, because growth is starting.
Great, so this is the last question. So can you ask Paraic if it's too late to prune back a new hedgerow that was planted 2 years ago, or is it too late in the season for it now?
No, I would prune it back now. It's only 2 years old, it's still quite young. Hedges are a bit like children. You need to start training them for a very small, young age. So at 2 years old, trim the tops again, take 4 to 6 inches off the top of the hedge, trim the sides as well, and remember to feed your hedgerow. So again, put on the Osmo Pro 6. All hedges are coming into growth at this time of year, so that little bit of trimming back will help to fill them out, and you'll have a thicker, fuller, fatter hedge. So,
sorry, one more question.
One more question.
So Anna Donlan, so something is eating my tulips and daffodils. What can I use on them?
Well, a lot of tulips and daffodils are actually attacked by slugs and snails early in the season, even before they emerge from the ground level. So a lot of the damage that's on them is done already. So my advice really is, if you want, you can put down some of the traditional slug treatments. There's a very safe one, an organic slug pellet called Erasa. So that's a very safe one to use. It's safe for children, it's safe for pets, it's safe for garden birds. It is a blue pellet, like the traditional pellet, but it's very safe in that it doesn't have a poisoned contain in it, and it's very effective at controlling slugs and snails. So look for that. It's one called Erasa. It does have the organic symbol on it. It's very safe to use, and that'll help to keep the slugs and snails off your tulips and daffodils. And next year, do put the pellets on a little bit earlier, around December, early January, just as the bulbs are beginning to emerge through the soil, and that'll help to protect them. So that's it from me. Thanks a million for all your questions. I'm back here in 2 weeks' time on the Pat Kenny Show and here on Facebook Live. See you then. Good gardening.